Hi, my name is Arifa Delasimo, and I'm making this video today to tell you about a wonderful opportunity you have to invest in yourself and your own future career goals by enrolling in Matthews Tutors. I'm currently a freshman student at Columbia University in the city of New York, an Ivy League institution where I am studying neuroscience and behavior on the pre-med track. I personally don't believe that I would have had the ability to call myself a Columbia student had it not been for the efforts of Matthews Tutors all those years ago. When I was in high school, I struggled with math, and I knew that I struggled with math. Math filled me with fear, and I wasn't confident doing it. But after just a few sessions with Matthew's tutors, not only was I instilled with the confidence to go forth in whatever math classes I chose to take, but I was able to increase my ACT score by almost 10 points, helping me earn a super score of 35. With those numbers, I was able to get accepted to all 16 colleges I applied to, including but not limited to Cornell University, Georgetown University, Tulane University, Duke University, and the college I currently attend, Columbia University. Matthews Tutors is going to do everything that they can to help you. That's what they did for me. But not only are they going to help you be a better student, they're going to continuously check in on you. I know that I personally received a lot of messages of support from them during my first semester of college, which was one of the hardest semesters I've ever experienced as a student. Matthews made sure that I had the confidence to go forth and pursue my own academic goals, but they also helped me increase the numbers too so that I could get where I wanted to be. And I know that they can do the same thing for you if you give them a chance. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a good weekend and school is coming along. Can you hear me now? Can you all hear me? Okay, thank you for the feedback on that. So just want to welcome you all to our live session. This is something we're going to be doing every Sunday at about this time. And what we're going to be doing with this session is we're going to look at what students are struggling with generally. And if students have questions, whether it's homework you're trying to walk through and it's Sunday, you're not sure what to do with your assignments, we want you to feel free to come here and we'll help you answer those questions. If it has to do with you preparing for a test, we want you to also come. We also want you to be able to come here and send us your questions, and we'll be able to answer them for you as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know as we have these sessions. I, are you all able to hear me? Are you all able to hear me? I just want to double check that you all are able to hear me before we start the session. Can you all hear me? All right. Please let me know if you cannot hear me so I can check if we're having any audio issues. Looks like it should be fine. So if you're not able to hear me, just let me know and we'll try to resolve that. All right, looks like the audio issue has been resolved. So thank you for the feedback on that. So what I want to do today is, like I was saying earlier, if you were not able to hear me, what I was trying to say is that I want this to be an avenue for you to help you with your assignments, also with your test preparation. If you're working on some topics for a test and you need some help, with some last minute preparation, or you have some questions that you're having difficulty working through and you want us to work through it together, this is for you. I have some topics already prepared that I'll be working through, but if you have any other topics that are pressing or they are more important to you right now, please let me know and then we'll try to walk through them together. So for today's session, what I want to focus on are linear equations and inequalities. We're going to focus on solving linear equations, and we're going to also solve linear equations and graph the linear inequalities. So we'll solve and graph linear inequalities, and then we're going to also focus on compound inequalities. We'll be looking at some compound inequalities together. And if you have any questions along the way, I know that there are actually some questions I have here on decimal word problems. So I want you to feel free to ask questions as we continue the program. So let me know if you need anything specifically. I'm going to just reiterate that. I want you to let me know something that is more relevant to you. Let me know, and then I'll have some questions that are related to that in our session today. So this session, we're going to have it every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Those in the East Coast is going to be 4:30 your time. And I believe if you're in the Pacific zone, California and the likes, well, it's going to be about 1:30 p.m. your time. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's kick this off. So what I want to do here is also expose you to, we're going to start off with equations, but I want to focus on fractions because I noticed that a lot of students struggle. Students generally have a good view or a good understanding or a fair understanding of how to solve equations, but when they're fractions, they get confused. So what I want to do is I want to show you different ways that you can approach questions that have fractions in them. And we're going to focus on a lot of multi-step and two-step equations as we walk through today. So feel free to ask questions along the way. What I'm going to try to do initially is I'll let you see if you are able to answer the question. I'd like you to try. If you're not sure what to do, or if there's a general feeling that the group does not know how to solve the questions, then I'll walk you through that and show you the simplest ways to solve these questions. So let's get started with this question. Also, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, please send it through the chat. I'll be paying attention to the chat to make sure that I accommodate your point of view in what we're going to be doing together today. So for those that are just joining us, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. This session is really for you. We want to make sure that we're providing you with additional resources to be successful in your school. Know that there are a lot of challenges with schools. We have children that are going through school virtually, so I understand the challenge. And okay. So if anyone is not working through this right now, I will go ahead and we'll solve this, and right after this question, we're going to look at word problems with decimals. We're going to solve word problems with decimals. Like I said, if there's a student that has a more pressing need or topic that is more relevant to them, I will always put theirs as a priority. So because we have this question already, let's walk through this question together, and then we will go ahead and start solving questions that have to do with decimals. So I'll give you a few more moments to answer this question, and then we'll walk through it together, and then we'll start looking at questions that have to do with decimals. And then once we're done with questions that are related to decimals, we'll come back to inequalities. But if someone else has a different topic that they're interested in, we'll switch to that topic. So remember, this is really for you. If you're preparing for a test this week that starts today, I guess the school week starts tomorrow. If you're preparing for a test and there are topics that you really need help with before you take your test, please let me know and I will factor them into what we're going to be working on. All right, so let's go ahead and try to answer this question together. So we're trying to solve 1/2 parenthesis q plus 1 equal to 4/3 minus q. So the first thing you're going to do, PEMDAS, I always say PEMDAS is the rule that governs a lot of what you do in math. So PEMDAS, we have parentheses. So because we have P is parentheses, so we're going to try to simplify the parentheses first. You always want to do that. So what that simply means is that you're going to multiply every term inside of the parentheses by the number on the left of the parentheses, which is 1/2. So we're going to multiply 1/2 by q and also multiply 1/2 by 1. So 1/2 multiplied by q is going to be 1/2q, and then 1/2 plus 1 is going to be 1/2. 1/2 multiplied by positive 1 is 1/2. This is going to give us 4/3 minus q. So the goal of solving any equation is to isolate the variable. What that simply means, when you hear the phrase isolate the variable, what you're actually looking for is to make sure that on one side of the equation you have just the variable. The variable is just the letter. Is the letter combined with either maybe by itself or combined with a number. That gives you the idea of what the variable is. So the variable is the letter, but sometimes you have to do some other things to get the variable by itself. But what your goal in isolating the variable is to make sure that on one side of the equal to sign you have just the variable. On the other side you have a number or whatever else that you may have, which we usually call constants. So what we're going to do now is to figure out what we're going to do with the variable. That's all that we need to focus on. Do we want the variable on the left-hand side or do we want the variable on the right-hand side? Trust me, it doesn't matter which one you go with, you're going to get the same result. What I'm going to do here instead is I'm going to actually move the variable to the left-hand side. So what that means is if I need to move the variable to the left-hand side, that means that this number here has to come to the right-hand side. So I'm going to put an asterisk here. And this variable also needs to move to the left-hand side. Let me put a different asterisk here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add q to both sides. And how do you decide what you're going to do? So look at this. You look at the variable here. It has a negative sign. You're going to change the sign to the opposite, which is going to be positive, and then the value here. This is going to be plus q. So now we're going to realize that the q here is gone from this because minus q plus q is going to be 0. So it's gone from this side and it's now on the left-hand side. So we have 1/2q plus q plus 1/2 equal to 4/3. Now that I have the q's here, I need the variable on this side. I need to move the constant value away. The constant value is the number that does not have a variable attached to it. So we're going to move that away. So we subtract 1/2 here and we subtract 1/2. So let's go ahead and we have 1/2 q plus q equal to 4/3 minus 1/2. Now we have a lot of different options that we can take here. The first option is to just solve it like you're solving fractions. And I'm going to show you the two different options. The first option is to solve it like you will solve a fraction. The second option is actually to find a least common denominator and you will multiply every term in this question by that number so you can get rid of any fractions that may already exist. So let's go ahead and solve the fraction method first. and then we will go ahead and also try the second method that I had talked to you about. So the first thing we're going to do here is realize that q by itself is the same as q over 1. So this is going to be 1/2 q is going to be the same as q over 2 plus q over 1. So now we're going to try to solve this fraction. What you're going to do, remember, when you're adding fractions, you can only add fractions when they have the same denominator. And once you're able to accomplish that, then you can add the numerators together. So what we're going to do here, we see 2 and 1. You can just simply multiply, and you have 2 as your new denominator. So you have q over 2. We're not going to change that because the denominator is already 2. Now we're going to focus on q over 1. Let's focus on q over 1. What I'm going to do that now is I need to make the denominator 2, so I multiply 1 by 2, and I also multiply q by 2. So this is going to give us q over 2 plus 2q over 2 equal to 4 over 3 minus half. So I'm going to write that here, 4 over 3 minus 1/2. So what we're going to do again here is we have 4 over 3 and 1/2. We have different denominators, so we have to make sure we get to the same denominator. I have 3 and 2. What I want you to also think of is whenever you have two prime numbers in the denominator, you can simply multiply them to get your new denominator. So we have 4 over 3. We're going to multiply 3 by 2 to get 6, and then we have 4 multiplied by 2, that's 8 over 6. We also have 1/2. We multiply 2 by 3, we multiply 1 by 3. So this is also 3 over 6. This is going to give us 8 over 6 minus 3 over 6. Some other method I use just to cross-check my answer is this. I have 4 over 3 minus 1 over 2. So what I actually will do here is I will just cross multiply on this side, cross multiply, and then cross this and multiply across that way. So that's going to give me 4 minus 2, which is 8. 3 minus 1 is 3, and then 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. So it looks like we're on the right path. So now what we're going to do is simplify. So we have 3q, because when you have the same denominator, you can actually add the numerators together. 3q over 2 equal to 8 minus 3, 5 over 6. So now you have some choices here. You can take this in 2 steps, or you can do it in 1 step. It depends on what you're comfortable with. When I say 2 steps, it means that we're going to first multiply by 2 to get rid of it from the denominator. And then after you're done with that, you're going to divide by 3. Also divide by 3. Or you could just use the inverse of 3 over 2, because that's the coefficient of q. You're going to divide by the coefficient, which is the same as multiplying by the inverse. So here you have, so this is going to cancel this out right here, and you have q equal to 5 multiplied by 2, 10, 6 multiplied by 3, 18. So you're going to have q is equal to 10 over 18, which is the same as 5 over 9. So that's one approach. That's one approach you could take. The second approach is actually for you to look at the fractions. We start off at the beginning of the question. I have a fraction 1/2 here. I also have another fraction 4 over 3, or 4/3. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to find the least common denominator of 2 and 3, and that's simply going to be 6. So here's what we're going to do with that information. So we have 1/2 q plus 1 equal to 4 over 3 minus q. So what I'm going to do now is multiply everything here by 6. Multiply by 6. So what that's going to give us is 1/2 multiplied by 6. Because this is a multiplier, you don't have to, once you take care of 1/2 multiplied by 6, that would apply to all of this. So this is going to be 3 multiplied by q plus 1 equal to, then 4 over 3 multiplied by 6. We're going to get 24 divided by 3, which is going to be 8. This is going to give us 8, and then minus 6q. One of the reasons why this method can be tricky is that sometimes students forget that you have to multiply by every single term that you have in the question. They tend to omit one term here and there, and so sometimes it leads them to the wrong answer. But if you prefer this method, some students that don't like fractions, don't like working with fractions, like to use this method. I'm just trying to tell you the pitfalls of using this method. So now we have 3q. We're going to multiply every term in the parentheses by 3. 3q plus 3 is equal to 8 minus 6q. So we're going to do exactly what we did before, which is to isolate the variable. So I'm going to add 6q on this side and add 6q on this side. You can see that we're no longer working with fractions, so we're back to what a lot of students feel comfortable working with. So we have 9q plus 3 equal to 8, and now we can subtract 3 from both sides, and we have 9q equal to 5, and then we divide both sides by 9, which is the coefficient of q, and you can see that q is equal to 5 over 9. So make your pick. If you are comfortable working with fractions, you don't make mistakes, or you're more prone to be successful working with them, use this method on this side. If you do not like fractions, some students just don't like them. If you don't like fractions and you feel that it makes, when you have fractions in your word problems or in your question, you may feel a sense of panic, then go ahead and use this method. Are there any questions? Okay, we'll get to inequalities, Sarah. We'll get to some inequalities shortly. Let's want to get to some decimals, and then we'll get to inequalities right after that. Okay, let's go to some decimals. So we have this question here. Mandy buys 5 packs of organic milk from the neighborhood store. Each pack is priced at $3.96. How much does Mandy spend on all her purchase? How much does Mandy spend in all on her purchase? How much does Mandy spend in all on her purchase? So we're looking at some word problems here that have to do with decimals. So we need to figure out some keywords as we work through this type of problems. When you're dealing with word problems, there are some keywords in the word problems that give you an idea of what you should try to do. Are you going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? And this is where we want to pay attention to those type of keywords. So let me give you about a minute to try to answer this, and then we can do it together so that we can also get to inequalities. I see there is a 2-step and multi-step equations, and we also have some inequalities to work through. So we have about 2 questions on decimals, 2 or 3 questions on decimals, and then we'll go over to inequalities. If you're not learning any of this, this is also an opportunity to learn, to ask questions. You may not be doing it now, but I can guarantee you that you will most likely get to it at some point, or you will need it at some point. If you're already past all of this, don't forget you may be in a higher grade, and this always come back, you always have to remember this. So this is an opportunity to review these topics as well. Okay, so let's look at some keywords here. Whenever you're working on word problems, you need to focus on keywords. So we have Mandy buys 5 packs, so I know that I have a 5 here, and each pack. So this is a very important. Each is a very important keyword here, because each pack means each of them, which is for every pack that Mandy has bought from this store, she pays $3.96 for 1 pack of I guess organic milk from this store. The question here is to find out how much she's going to spend on 5 packs. So let's look at it this way. Sometimes it's good to draw some diagrams if you're learning this. So she has 5 packs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's telling us here that each pack is priced at $3.96. So this is $3.96, $3.96. That's exactly what it's saying in the question. $3.96, $3.96. So you can see we have 5 of them already, and we're pricing each one at $3.96. Now the question is, how much does she spend on all her purchase? There are lots of different ways you can look at this. You can try to add them together because you have 5 of them, or you can simply multiply by 5. The best approach to use here is to actually multiply by 5 because it's shorter and it's easier to do. If you're going to add this, you're going to add these two together. When you get the result, add it here, add it here, add it here, and it just takes too long. But we can simply say that each pack is $3.96. So 5 packs. You can also, instead of each, you can use 1. That's fine. 5 packs is going to be $3.96 multiplied by 5. So now we'll go ahead and perform this multiplication. 396 multiplied by 5. And so we're going to go just multiply. So we have 6 multiplied by 5. That's going to give us 30. So we have 0 here, and then we bring 3 up here. And then we have 9 multiplied by 5. We have 45. We add 3 to that. That is going to give us 48. So we write 8 here and bring 4 up here. 3 multiplied by 5, we have 15 plus 4, we have 19. And then what we're going to do in the answer is we're going to look at how many decimals did we start with. We have 2 decimals here, we have none here. So 2 plus 0 is 2, so we're going to count 1, 2. So we're going to put our decimal here, and so this is going to be 19.80. $19.80 for all 5 packs of milk. So Mandy is going to spend $19.80 on all the 5 packs of milk. So let me just go through this again. What you want to do is remember how much each one of them costs, and you're looking to find the cost of 5. That's simply multiplying by 5 or continuous addition. Multiplying by 5 is a lot easier, is a lot faster. So we'll take that approach. So we multiply by 5, and that will give us $19.80. So $19.80. Are there any questions? Are there any questions on this? Okay, so let's go to the next question that we have on decimals. Okay, let's try to solve another question on decimals. Let's do another question on decimals. Okay. Brad and Sue took their 3 children to the theme park on a Sunday. If the entry ticket So we're trying to find out how much Brad spent on the children's tickets. So I'll give you all a chance to just try to see if you can answer it based on the example we did earlier. Let's see if you're able to answer this, and then we'll do it together. So Brad and Sue took their 3 children to the theme park on a Sunday. If the entry ticket for each child was priced at $9.17, how much in all did Brad spend on the children's tickets? How much in all did Brad spend on the children's tickets? 27. I see someone saying 27. Okay, Jaden, let's see. Check your multiplication again. I think you're probably headed down the right path, but just double check your multiplication. Your answer is very close to the answer. Okay, so let's go answer this question here. So Brad and Sue took their 3 children to the theme park on a Sunday. If the entry ticket for each child was priced at $9, how much in all did Brad spend on the children's tickets? So what we're going to do here is look for the price of, so there are 3 children. I'm going to draw my diagram again. I have 3 children, one here, one here, and one here. And it says here that the ticket for each child was priced at $9.17, $9.17, and $9.17. So what we have here is we have 3 children that each paid $9.17 to go to this theme park. So what we're going to look for is, you have 2 choices again. You can either add all the numbers together or you can simply multiply by 3. So I like that method better. So one child is going to be $9.17. 3 children, we're going to simply multiply this by 3. So let's go ahead and simplify that. Let's compute that. 7 multiplied by 3 is 21. So I'm going to write 1 here and bring 2 up here. 1 multiplied by 3 is 3, plus 2, we have 5. So, and then 9 multiplied by 3 is 27. I did this because I'm very familiar with this, but what you want to do here is you want to focus on how many digits you have after the decimal altogether. Here you have 2 digits after the decimal, here you have none. So you can see that you're only going to account for 2 digits after the decimal. So you can do that here, or you can always start from here, count 1, 2. So this is going to give you $27.51. So Brad is going to pay or spend $27.51 on his children's tickets. Okay, very good, Anastasia. Very good, very good. Let's do one more. This is most likely not going to be a multiplication one. Let's do one more on decimal so we can go to other things. Okay, Reynard and his friends visited an orchard on Sunday. They picked 12.34 pounds of apples and 9.56 pounds of blueberries. How much did the fruits weigh in all? How much did the fruits weigh in all? So we got Reynard and his friends going to an orchard on a Sunday to pick some fruits. He picks 12.34 pounds of apples and 9.56 pounds of blueberries. How much did the fruits weigh in all? Always watching for keywords. Here are a few keywords you want to pay attention to: much and all. Those are 2 important keywords. The 2 keywords that you want to pay attention to in this question. So Reynard and his friends visited an orchard on Sunday. They picked 12.34 pounds of apples and 9.56 pounds of blueberries, and is asking about fruits. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what are the fruits that they picked? So we can see here that the fruits are apples and blueberries. And how much did each of them weigh? So the apples weighed 12.34 pounds and the blueberries weighed 9.56 pounds. So how much did the fruits weigh in all? So here's how you want to, I will say you should look at this. So we got apples here. Let's call this, these are apples. And then we have blueberries. And so we picked all these fruit, and how much did they weigh in all? So we're going to bring them together and put them on a scale. Let's try to put them on a scale. And so we want to find out the weight of all of these fruits together. So if you put them on a scale and you're combining them, you're combining the weights together. So that simply means you're going to add, because it's asking you the weight of everything in all. So we're going to combine the weights together. So that's what we're going to do here. 12.34 plus 9.56. So we're going to go ahead and add these numbers together. 4 plus 6, we have 10. We put a 0 here, bring a 1 up here. 1 plus 3, 4 plus 5, we have 9. And then we have 2 plus 9, 11. So we have 1 here and 1 up here. 1 plus 1 is 2. So what's going to happen here is that all the fruits are going to weigh 21.90 pounds. So that is how you would answer a question like this. All right, so let's go ahead and try to answer some questions. And if there are no questions, if you have questions, let me know. If there are no questions, we'll go ahead and start working on some inequalities. Let's look at some inequalities. We have some inequalities here. I'm going to show you two different methods to solve this inequality. There are two different ways you could go about it. So I'm going to show you two different ways to solve inequalities like this. If you have any questions, please let me know. Drop a note in the chat. I'll respond to your questions. So the next set of topics the next set of questions we're going to do are for Sarah, and she wants help with inequalities. And so we're going to answer some questions that have to do with inequalities. So let's go ahead and try to answer this question together. So I'm going to show you two different methods on this question, and maybe on the next one you can try. I'll give you a chance to try to answer it. So when you have, I told you earlier that PEMDAS is what determines how we start a lot of our equations, a lot of our mathematical problems. So here we have parentheses, which is always the first thing you want to deal with. Whenever you have a question that has parentheses, you want to find a way to simplify the parentheses. So what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply 7 by every term inside of the parentheses. So 7 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 14. And then we're going to plus 7 multiplied by 6x is 42x. This is less than 21. So now we're going to simplify. We're going to isolate the variable, and I said earlier, that simply means we're going to make sure that the variable stays by itself on one side and all the other numbers go on the other side. So here I have just one variable on the left-hand side, and I have a number, so I'm just going to move the number out. Now, for us to move the number, you want to always remember that if you have a number and there's no sign to the left of that number, always assume it's a plus. It's a positive sign. So now we're going to move 14 away from here. So we're going to write 14, and then we change the sign, which is minus. And whatever you do on one side of an equation or an inequality, you must do on the other side as well of the same equation or inequality. So we subtract 14 here, and so we're left with this is going to cancel out because 14 minus 14 is 0. So we now have 42x is less than 7. So now we have 42x less than 7. We have to divide by the coefficient of the variable. The variable is x, so the coefficient of that is going to be 42. So we divide by 42, and whatever we do on one side, we must do on the other side. And so x is going to be less than 7 over 42. Whenever you're dealing with fractions, always make sure that you simplify it until you can no longer simplify. So always convert it to its simplest form. So here we have 7 over 42. We can divide numerator and denominator by 7. So x is less than 1 over 6. So that's how you will solve that. That's one method. This is most likely the method that you're going to learn in school. There is a different approach you could take as well. And this is the way you can do that. 7, we have 2 plus 6x less than 21. So I have just 7 multiplied by 2 plus 6x, and then we have 21 here. The question you can ask yourself in this case is if 7 and 21 are factors of each other. So in this case, 7 multiplied by 1 is 7. 7 multiplied by 3 is 21. So I can simply divide this by 7 and also divide this by 7. So what I have now is I'm going to have 1 multiplied by 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 multiplied by 2 plus 6x is less than 21 divided by 7 is 3. So you distribute 1 here, you have 2 plus 6x less than 3. And now we have to isolate the variable. So that means I'm going to move 2 out of here. So I'm going to subtract 2, and then I subtract 2. So I have 6x is less than 1. Now I have to divide by the coefficient, which is the number to the left of the variable. And so we divide by 6, and you have x is less than 1 over 6. So that's one way. Those are the two different ways you can do it. I know a lot of you are most likely more familiar with just distributing, but this is also an approach that is available to you if you want to use it. Did that help? Or is Sarah still here? Okay, let's go for a few more questions on inequalities. Okay, we're going, in this case, in this question, we're going to solve the inequality, and we're also going to graph it. We're going to solve it, and we're going to draw a graph of the inequality on the number line, that is. So we have 2 minus 2x greater than 4x plus 7. 2 minus 2x greater than 4x plus 7. So we're going to, the rules are the same. You're always going to look to isolate the variable. Whenever you're working with an inequality or an equation, the idea is still, the concept is similar, is the same actually. You're going to isolate the variable. You're going to treat it as if it's an equation and just try to isolate the variable. So the first thing we're going to do here is make a decision. I always, just as a preference, I love all my variables on the left-hand side and all my constants on the right-hand side. It's just a preference. But when you're dealing with inequalities, it can be tricky if you put all the variables on the right-hand side and the constants on the left-hand side. You have to make another decision at the end of the work that you show. So what I'm going to do here is I want to show something specific about inequalities. So we're going to move all the variables to the left-hand side, and we're going to move the constants to the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and move constants first. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So I have, this is going to cancel out. I have negative 2x is greater than 4x plus 5. 7 minus 2 is 5. And then we're now going to move 4x. So we're going to subtract 4x here and subtract 4x. So now we have 5. This is going to cancel out. So we have negative 2x minus 4x. Negative 2x minus 4x. What you always do whenever you have the same signs, you're always going to add the values first. So 2x plus 4x is 6x. And then we have a negative value for both of them. So we're just going to put that right here. Now we want to figure out the value of x because we always want to isolate x, which means x needs to be by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to the left of x and see what the value is at the left of x. We have a negative number, so we're going to divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6 here, and also divide by negative 6. Now, whenever you divide or multiply in inequalities, whenever you divide or multiply by a negative number, the inequality has to switch. The direction is pointing to has to change. So what we're going to do here is this is going to be x. This is going to be negative 5 over 6. And here the inequality is pointing to the right, so it's now going to point to the left. So whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you always have to switch to the opposite inequality. Initially, we started off with greater than. Now we are going to end up with less than. So x less than negative 5 over 6 is going to be the solution to this inequality. Now we have to graph that. Let's go ahead and graph this inequality. Let me just use a good line here. So we have this number line. And so I have 0 here. Let's put a 0 here. I have maybe 1 right about here. So this is going to be negative 5 over 6. This is negative 1 here. So that's going to be negative 5 over 6. And here we're saying that x is less than negative 5 over 6. Whenever you have just less than or greater than, what you have to do is remember that it's going, because it's not equal to negative 5 over 6, so you're going to have an open circle, and x is less than, so that means it's going to go towards the left-hand side. So this is what your graph is going to look like. X is less than negative 5 over 6. Are there any questions on this so far? Are there any questions on this so far? Does it make some sense? Does it help? Does it help clarify some of what you need to prepare for your test? Okay, so now we're going to look at, there's a request for mixed numbers. So let's see the specifics on the mixed numbers. Are we looking at converting mixed number to an improper fraction? Are we looking at adding or multiplying or dividing mixed numbers? So let's go ahead. I'll do a few problems on mixed numbers, and then I'll just do something quick, converting a mixed number to an improper fraction. Then I'll do some addition and the concept of addition and subtraction. I'll do an addition, and then I'll do a multiplication problem with mixed numbers. I hope that would cover what you need. If it doesn't cover what you need, please let me know so that I can actually add what the type of topics that are more relevant to you, to what we're doing. So let's go ahead with convert 25 over 9 to a mixed number. We'll start there. So when you have a question like this, what you're going to do is you're going to have it's most likely going to be a long division. So let's go ahead and have our long division symbol. We got 25 here, we got 9. Now we need to ask ourselves how many groups of 9 in 25? 9 multiplied by 1 is 9. 9 multiplied by 2 is 18. 9 multiplied by 3 is 27. 25 is right about here, so we're going to pick the lower multiple here, so which is lower multiplier. So that's going to be 2. 2 multiplied by 9 is going to be 18. So we subtract, and 25 minus 18 is 7. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rewrite this as a mixed number. So that's going to give us, we always go this way. We start from 2. This is our numerator, and then this is our denominator. So we go 2, 7 over 9. Okay, so the next question, please let me know if this is what you're looking for. If it's not what you're looking for, also let me know as well, so that I can factor it into what we're doing here. So let's go ahead and do some addition. Let's go with 4, 2 over 3 plus 3, 3 over 5. So whenever you have mixed numbers and you're trying to add them, you have two options. You can either add them as mixed numbers, or you can first convert them to improper fractions and then add the improper fractions together. Doesn't matter which one you prefer. The only thing with converting it to improper fractions is when you're done with the improper fractions, you have to convert them back again to mixed numbers. So it all depends on what you want to do or what you're comfortable doing. So what we're going to do here, we're going to pay attention to the fraction portion of the mixed number. Let's pay attention to that. So here we have 2/3 and we have 3/5. Every rule we know about addition or about adding fractions still applies, which simply is that whenever you have fractions and you need to add them together, you have to make sure that the denominators are the same. If they're not the same, you will end up with the wrong answer. Don't fall into the trap. From my experience working with students for so long, I can tell you that most students fall into the trap of just adding across, and they will make this 5/8. Not a good idea. So what we're going to do is we'll have 3 and 5 as our denominators. The easiest thing to do really is to just multiply them together. In some instances, you may end up simplifying later on, but at least you will be you'll most likely be taking the right approach doing it this way. So we have 3 and 5. The least common denominator is going to be 3 multiplied by 5, which is 15. So now we're going to convert 2/3, 2 over 3, to a new fraction with 15 as its denominator. So I'm going to multiply 3 by 5, and so I'm also going to multiply 2 by 5, which is going to give us 10 over 15. And then I have 3 over 5 here. I'm going to multiply 5 by 3 because I need to get to 15. And also I will need to multiply 3 by 3, which is 9 over 15. So now our new fraction is going to look like this. It's going to be 4 10 over 15 plus 3 9 over 15. When you have a fraction this way, what you're going to first do is add the whole numbers together. So 4 plus 3 is going to give you 7. And then now that you have the same denominator, you can actually just add the numerators together. So this is going to be 10 plus 9 is going to give us 19. So we have a challenge. We have an improper fraction here. So we have to convert that improper fraction to a mixed number again. So we have 19 and we have 15 here as the denominator. So 19 divided by 15, how many groups of 15 in 19? 15 multiplied by 1 is 15. 15 multiplied by 2 is 30. So 19 is between 15 and 30. So I'm going to use 1 here. 1. Okay, you want to do some multi-step, two-step and multi-step with a variable, no problem. Once we finish the fractions, I'll get to that for you. So 1 multiplied by 15 is 15. So we have a remainder of 4. So this is going to be, so 19 over 15 is the same as 1 whole number, 4 over 15 as our fraction. So this is now going to be 7 plus 1 whole number, 4 over 15. So this is going to give us 8, 4 over 15. So this is how you add mixed numbers, or mixed fractions as some people like to call them. But this is what you would do to add them. The other way you could do it also is to just convert them to improper fractions and add them that way. That will give you the same answer. But always remember that with that approach, you have to still convert that answer back to a mixed number to get the correct answer. So let's do a final question on fractions. Let's do a division problem. So let's go for division. So let's go with 3.5 divided by 4/5. Let's just go for that. So the first thing you want to do with division is, whenever you have mixed numbers in your division, you want to convert those mixed numbers to improper fractions. You want to convert those mixed numbers to improper fractions. So how are we going to do that? Let's do that on the side here. I like to do some side work on the side. So 3.5. Actually, I want you all to give this a shot. Since we've done some improper fraction already, I want you to give it a shot. And then if you're not sure what to do, then I'll show you how to do it. But I'll give you the hints. The hints are that you're going to first convert each of these mixed numbers to improper fractions, and then you apply the method for dividing fractions to whatever you get. And once we're done with this topic, we're going to help Sarah with some two-step equations and multi-step equations. So let's do that. Okay, so are you all able to answer this question? So 3.5 divided by 4/5, 4/5. So what we're going to do is, what I need you to do first is convert the fraction, the mixed number, to an improper fraction. Convert each of them to improper fractions, and then apply the method for division. When you're trying to divide, don't forget, when you have to divide, you always leave the fraction to the left-hand side the way it is, and then the one on the right-hand side, you will flip the numerator and denominator. They switch positions. That's all you need to do in order to divide fractions. So I'll give you maybe about 30 more seconds to attempt this, and then we'll go over to the questions on multi-step and two-step equations. Okay, let's go ahead and answer this question. Do you need more time? Need a little bit more time to answer this, or you want me to go ahead and show you what to do? Okay, let's go ahead and answer this question so we can get to Sarah's topic. So we have 3.5. we are going to convert this to an improper fraction. Simple way to do that is multiply the whole number by the denominator and then add the numerator. So 3 multiplied by 2, 6 plus 1, we have 7 over 2. And then 4 4/5. We have 4 multiplied by 5, 20 plus 4. We have 24 over 5. So now what we have for our question is 7 over 2 divided by 24 over 5. So now that we have this, we're going to apply our division. Whatever we do for dividing fractions, we're going to apply it here. So this is 7 over 2. We leave the fraction to the left alone. We change the division symbol to a multiplication symbol. And then the fraction on the right, the numerator and the denominator switch positions. And so we're going to have 5 over 24. So 7 multiplied by 5 is going to be 35. 2 multiplied by 24 is going to be 48. So that is the answer to that question. Answer to that question. Let me know if you have any questions on this. All right, let's try a two-step equation and a multi-step equation and see where that leads us. So we're going to go with a two-step equation. A two-step equation. Let me write one on the screen. So we have negative 9x plus 1 equal to negative 80. So that's going to be the equation we solve for two-step. Let's try it. Let's see if we can do one more actually. Let's go with negative 6 plus x over 4 equal to negative 5. Let's do those two. I'm going to show you how to work the first one and then I'll let you try the second one. How does that sound? Okay, so let's go with the first one. We're looking to isolate the variable. The variable here is x. We're looking to isolate the variable. Generally, the idea behind the two-step equation is that you need to take 2 steps. You're going to follow 2 steps and then you will get to your answer. Or like I like to say, you need to do 2 things to get to your answer. So the first thing we're going to do is, because we need to isolate the variable, I need to leave the variable on the left-hand side because there's already a variable there and there's no variable on the right-hand side. So that means I need to get the constant, which is the number without a variable. I need to get the constant out of there. So what I'm going to do here is subtract 1. So I can get a 0 here, and then I'll also subtract 1 here. So now that I've done this, I can cancel this because this is going to give me 0. And I have negative 9x equal to negative 80 minus 1 is negative 81. And now that we have this, so you notice we've done one thing already. That's the first step. Now our second step, which is why this is called a two-step equation, is to divide by negative 9 because we want to have x by itself. We divide by negative 9 here and divide by negative 9 here. So x is equal to, when you divide 2 negative numbers, you always end with a positive. So x equal to 9. Very good, Sarah. Very good. So with that in mind, let's see what you come up with for the second question. It's two-step. It's a two-step equation. So just remember, you only have to do 2 things to get your answer. Now, when we get to multi-step equations, yes, then we have to do more than 2 things. It could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5. All depends on the way the question is written. So we're going, once we finish this, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Take your time. Take your time. Anybody else have any other topics they'll like before we end the session? We're going to walk through, right now we're scheduled to do some work on multi-step equations after we finish the two-step equations. And if that's all, I may be able to accommodate one more topic if there's a demand for it. Otherwise, we'll just end with our multi-step equations. Okay, so I see an answer already. Let's see what. So I have x equal to 4 as an answer. So let's see if that is true. I'll wait for Sarah to get an answer because she asked for this topic. I want to make sure that she gets the most out of it as well. But good job, Anastasia, on your answer. I'll check if you're right once we're ready to walk through the problems together. Always remember to isolate variable. In this case, you have just one variable. You have the variable on only one side of the equation. So the simplest thing you can do is to move everything else that is not a variable from the left side to the right side and then work from there. Okay, very good. 4. All right. So let's do that together. We have -6 plus x over 4 equal to -5. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move this -6 because we already have a variable here and we're trying to isolate the variable. So we're going to add 6 to both sides, add 6, and we have x over 4 equal to negative positive. So when you have opposite signs, you're going to subtract the numbers, which is going to give us 1. And then we're going to keep the sign on the larger number. So the larger number here is 6. The sign is positive. So that's plus 1. So we have x divided by 4. So what we're going to do is we need to get rid of the fraction. So we're going to multiply by 4 and multiply by 4. So 4x over 4 is equal to 4. So let's go ahead and simply divide. 4 divided by 4 is going to give us 1x, which is the same as x is equal to 4. X is equal to 4. So very good job on that. X is actually equal to 4 here. So let's go for some multi-step equations. Let's go to multi-step equations. And I think that should give us a lot for today. So let's go to multi-step equations. I'm going to write a few problems and I know this tend to be a bit more, this could be a bit more tricky. So let's try to, let me get one that is, okay, let's do that. So this is the first question for multi-step. We have 37 equal to -3 plus 5x plus 6. That's the first question. The second one is going to be -1 minus 5v equal to 54. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll do it on your own, and then after that we'll look at an example. We'll walk through them together. Now we are going to subtract 27 from both sides because we already have the variable on the right hand side. So 10 is equal to 5x. We divide by 5. And then 2 is equal to x, which also means x equal to 2. So that is very good. 2 is the correct answer for that question. 2 is the correct answer for the question. So very good on that. So let's go ahead and try the second one. While you're working on what notified of upcoming live sessions that we will have, we're going to have a live session. Current plan is to have a live session every Sunday around 3:30, and we may go all the way up to 5 o'clock or 4:30 depending on what the demand for that day is. And we also have free sessions Monday through Thursday. We have free sessions Monday through Thursday, most of them starting about 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then for students who want more of a individualized attention, individualized session, we also have paid sessions, and those can be anywhere from Monday all the way through Saturday, and we'll be able to accommodate your needs at that time. So feel free to let us know if you're interested in a more individual session, a more private session, if you have some challenges or you have some questions or topics that you just really want the time to be focused on you. You just let us know, and then we'll be able to arrange something for you that will just focus on what you need directly. But just so to recap that again, on Sundays from about 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be having these sessions. We would like for you to send us your topics ahead of time so that we can make sure that we accommodate all the questions that are submitted or all the topics that are submitted into our live session. We also have free sessions Monday through Thursday, and those typically start around 3:30 p.m. and may go up to about 5 or 6 p.m. sometimes. And then we have individualized paid sessions they are private sessions. You can ask questions that are relevant to just you, and we'll be able to accommodate your needs there as well. But don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that whenever we go live, we'll be able to let you will get a notification that we are live. Once we schedule it, it will show up on your YouTube so that you can know that we're about to go live. And then you can also use that as an opportunity to send us a message that you have questions you would like us to address. And we also have a community page on our YouTube that you can use to send us some feedback, send us questions, send us topics. We're really open to that. Okay, let's look at the last question. I'm waiting for you to solve it. If you need more time, let me know so that I can be sure that you're working on it. Okay, waiting on your response to the second question. Waiting on the response to the second question. Let me know if you're having any challenges with it or if you need help solving it so that we can do that together. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to answer this question together. So we're going to start off with PEMDAS because that's always the way we like to start any kind of mathematical problem. We want to make sure we obey the rules of PEMDAS, which is the order in which you should solve questions. The order of operations. When you have operations, your operations are multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, exponents, parentheses. So how you should go about solving questions that have those operations. So we're going to go ahead and let's distribute 6 into the parentheses, rather negative 6 into the parentheses. So we're going to multiply negative 6 by 1 and also negative 6 by negative 5v. So we're going to have negative 6 plus 30v equal to 54. So now we're going to now isolate v. So let's go ahead and isolate v here. The first thing to do is to make sure we have every term that does not have a variable away from the same side as 30v. So let's go ahead and add 6 to both sides. So we have 30v equal to 60. And now we need to isolate v by dividing by its coefficient. So we divide by 30, divide by 30. So zeros will always cancel each other out if they are the end of the number. Or rather, you can say, yeah, if they are the end of the number, zeros will always cancel out. So we also have this here, 30 divided by 30 is 1. So v is equal to 6 divided by 3, which is 2. So v here is equal to 2. V is equal to 2. So that's all I have for today. Do you have any questions before we call it an evening? And for those who may be international, before we call it a night? Are there any questions that you may have for me? If there are no questions, I want to thank you for joining us today for our session, and we'll be here again next week. We'll be here again next week, Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, but tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can also join us for some free sessions. But if you prefer a private session, you can also go to our website, mathis.com, and send us a message. Go to contact us on mathis.com, or you can send us an email at info@mathis.com. info@mathis.com. Great job to everyone who has participated. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and looking forward to hanging out with you again next week. Are there any questions? I'm going to wait for a few more moments. If there are no questions, thank you again for your time. Don't forget to share with your friends. Let your friends know. We like this on Sunday because it gives you a last opportunity if you're preparing for a test for the upcoming week, or if you're working on some assignments, some homework that you're not quite sure how to answer questions from. Or you may just be a student who's trying to just learn things and you came across something that has been challenging for you to understand. We're here to help you and also help your friends. And so we look forward to hanging out with you again next week. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a blessed week. And continue to stay out of trouble and continue to work hard. I want to remind you that some hard work always pays off. So keep working hard, stay motivated, stay inspired, and everything will work out to your benefit as you continue to put in the effort that is required for your success. So thank you again, and see you again next week. See you tomorrow. If you want to join our free sessions, we have our free sessions again Monday through Thursday. It's going to be on Zoom, so you can actually interact directly with the tutor. So that's always awesome. So feel free to reach out. Go to our contact page on our website and send us a message so we can send you the information to connect to Zoom. So that's going to be a big deal for you. You can actually bring your homework or topics that you're dealing with, and we'll be able to let you know what days your grades will be tutored during the Monday to Thursday free sessions. Don't forget, paid sessions are also available. We are here to help you. Whatever you need to be successful, Math East Tutors is here to provide that for you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aretha Adelosimo.